Mr. Stein usually came by the office once a week. He flirted with Rosie and stocked up on the tickets for the Heights and Borum Council senior shuttle bus. Sometimes he attended the Tai Chi for Seniors class held every Friday in the conference room. But a few days prior, we'd received a call from his longtime doctor asking if we'd dispatch one of our social workers to his patient's apartment. Apparently, Mr. Stein was a no-show for his last 2 appointments. Rosie was quick to chime in that it had been at least a month since he'd come to the office. Most social workers were stuck working out of a dingy, windowless church basement on the worst corner of an already run-down neighborhood. But thankfully, Heights and Borum Council was perched 3 flights up in a clean and bright building with decent-sized windows overlooking Montague Street, the main drag of Brooklyn Heights, one of the oldest old-money neighborhoods in New York City. The catchment area only stretched as far as the adjacent Cobble Hill and Borum Hill, and aside from a few sketchy pockets that bordered the Gowanus Canal, it consisted of quiet, tree-lined residential streets with rows of well-kept brownstones worth about $5 million apiece. Borum Hill made headlines recently when Michelle Williams and Heath Ledger bought a townhouse over on Dean Street. Celebrities choosing to settle down here didn't surprise me at all. I walked these streets every day, all day, and most of the area was as precious as a Norman Rockwell painting. In fact, I usually set out early for a home visit, just so I could wander up and down for a while before surrendering to whichever client I was seeing. I got lost in the details: old-fashioned wrought iron gas lanterns, ornate brass door handles, matching flower boxes hanging from every windowsill, wide limestone staircases with thick, curved banisters stretching from the street up to the parlor floor. The drapes were often left wide open in the homes along the less trafficked, more moneyed streets near the promenade, set so close to the road that you could see clear inside and admire the 11-foot ceilings, dangling crystal chandeliers, grand pianos, and works of art on the walls. I always feared the owners would catch me staring or realize that I'd walked by their home 4 times in 10 minutes, but I couldn't help it. But every few blocks, tucked between these manicured beauties, I stumbled upon an eyesore covered in dead vines with dirty windows. The number on the crumbling facade was usually the one I was looking for. I never knew what I might find once inside: decades of unchecked hoarding, signs of elder abuse or severe neglect, other evidence of long-time dysfunction, made worse by the ravages of dementia. I once walked into a massive brownstone overlooking the promenade and found the floor of the ground level missing. It had caved into the basement years earlier, leaving a gaping hole in the middle of my client's home. She never had the money to replace it, but instead worked out a system of holding on to the wall and other semi-stationary objects as she made her way along the 4-foot ledge of wood paneling left around the perimeter. Like a fool, I set out after her, turning back only after the tamped-down layer of newspapers and magazines lining her narrow path began to slide beneath my feet. She wasn't my only client who was property-rich and cash-poor. I wanted to get back to the office quickly to have 5 minutes to freshen up in the bathroom and swing by Hot Bagels and Deli, which sold bagels with butter for $1.09, before trekking off to job number 2 in the Village, moonlighting as a hostess and reservationist at Babbo, one of New York City's busiest restaurants. I didn't know I'd be hostessing when I left my apartment in the morning. I only agreed to cover the shift about an hour before my visit to Mr. Stein, when George, the maitre d', called and asked me to come in, so I wasn't wearing my most comfortable hostess shoes. I had on dumpy, cream-colored pumps with soles like flimsy cardboard, and after a full day of running around Brooklyn, it felt like someone had taken a mallet to the balls of my feet. The skin on the back of my right heel was already red and tender. It would break soon, but far be it from me to pass up earning an extra $70. "I'm going up to see Mr. Stein," I announced to the doorman at 101 Clark as I breezed past him and into the elevator. He looked up from his newspaper and said, "I haven't seen that one come down in a long, long time." That was never something you wanted to